Well, thanks for joining us in the DigiLab this afternoon, Sam. We're looking at the risky business of using social networking tools. And there's a lot of current activity and interest going on in the further education community at the moment around the use of third-party social networking tools. On top of this, often organisations enforce a code of conduct on employees regarding their use of information and communication technologies. As a records manager, what have you identified to be key risks and issues around balancing the needs of the organisation with personal and professional interests in relation to the use of these tools?
Right. Well, I think there are a few key things. First of all, firstly, the organisation will want to safeguard its own information. So if that happens to be saved on an external social networking site or a Web 2 service, then the organisation needs to make sure that that is actually safe. Then you've got the needs of the individuals. These sites are really useful for collaboration, for conversations, for having these extended free conversations. So there's using the sites in that way. And then there are the risks to those individuals in terms of their privacy on these sites, making sure that they know what they're doing and what they shouldn't be doing. And also in the information they put up there, making sure that while they have these free conversations, they're also not breaking the law. So blogging and actually slandering someone, it still exists, even if it's on a Web 2 site.
Yeah, so we need to really alert people to some of the concerns that they need to think about, really, when they're using these tools in a very practical way. I know you've been reviewing some of the terms and conditions around some of the tools that are currently very popular. I wondered if you can give us some examples of things that we need to alert users to when they're signing up for using them.
Absolutely. And these, again, will have repercussions for both an organisation if you're using these sites for business purposes as well as the individual. So, well, I'll get my crib sheet out. We've got intellectual property. Who actually owns the content? Sometimes in some of these sites they will also say that they have some ownership rights to the content. Who has access to it? So are the people who can access the content on the site the right people? Should it be open to the world if it is? If someone puts a comment up there that's defamatory or libelous, can you take it down, or is it up there forever? Where's the data held? And this is an interesting one. So if, for example, worst case scenario, a country that has really poor privacy and respect to the individual laws and practices actually has the information there, they might be going through your data even though you think it's secure. So be careful that you know where the servers are and where the information is. And a couple of other things around, can you get the information out again? Can you put it anywhere else if you decide that that service isn't for you? And can you be sure that the service is actually going to be around in 5 years, or let you know if it goes down when it goes down? So lots of things that, especially if it's important information or it's business information, you need to be aware of when you sign up for these services.
Can you give us some examples of different practices that you've actually reviewed around some of these popular tools?
Yes, I have been looking at these recently. Now, this is my take on it, so I'm not sure if it's totally accurate, but I have been looking at them. And for example, Google Mail will process your personal information, but you retain copyright, which is good. The search engine log data is kept 18 months before it's anonymised, which is interesting. That's in the terms and conditions. And Google Mail, you give them, by signing up, an unlimited license to reproduce, publish or modify the information, but it does say for the sole purpose of display or distribution of the service. Whereas SourceForge, interestingly, as part of their registration agreement, say that they get a right to use and incorporate content in other works, in other forms, perpetually as well. and syndicate it. So that's more of a, they can use it however they want, not for the sole reason that Google does. So I think that's quite interesting. Twitter says the text and images are yours, and that deleting your account deletes the text and images there, so that seems fairly straightforward. Interestingly, Facebook says no site content may be copied without written consent apart from your own user content. So if you want to use information about groups that other people have put up there, you want to copy that onto something else, you really shouldn't without informing Facebook that you want to. So I find that quite intriguing.
Well, that's
just to
really,
be aware of.
Yeah, that's fascinating. So you've just outlined there, just with a few of the most popular tools that are around at the moment, a real varied degree of practice, really, within what the license agreements is and what you're actually buying into when you sign up for use of these tools. Can I just ask you to round up then, if we go back and just recap on what are the top 5 things you need to remember when planning to use these tools in relation to your work or your personal or your professional interests.
Right, so I've got them here. First of all, look at the terms and conditions of the service. I think that's quite important for a whole number of issues. Secondly, make sure that any content you put up conforms to acceptable use and you're not slandering or libelling anyone. Thirdly, avoid putting your address and date of birth and too much, perhaps, information on your registration or your profile for any of these sites. Make sure that any content that is important to the business is safe. So really consider putting it on business systems, organisation systems, rather than just leaving it in the ether if it is important. And really avoid putting personal or sensitive data up as content on any of these sites unless you've seriously considered it and you know what the terms and conditions are. Because if it's business information that is also personal data, then there might be repercussions with that.
Okay, well thank you very much.
With that.